Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Midnight Musings. My name is Ron Guth, and these are some of the things that keep me up at night. Though the voting in the 2020 presidential election is over, there is still a lot of confusion about who the winner actually is. The media has declared Joe Biden the winner, a little prematurely perhaps, and he has now staked out a claim as the new president, even going so far as to create a new office called the Office of the President-elect. Trump continues to argue that if every legal vote is counted and every illegitimate vote is discarded, that he will be shown as the winner. So the Trump team has filed lawsuits in most of the battleground states, which are being litigated as I speak. Now, there's been a demand, mostly from the left, that Trump concede the election. And that's the question for you tonight. Should Trump concede? Let me know your answers in the comments below, but please wait until you watch the rest of the video. And be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like videos such as this. It costs you nothing to subscribe, you won't get spammed, your privacy will not be invaded, and it really helps me move up in YouTube's algorithm, so please hit the subscribe button. Thank you in advance for your support. Now, here are a few things to consider before you answer the question of whether or not Trump should concede. Number one, today, November 11, 2020, the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, ordered a risk-limited audit of the Georgia election. Now, this is not just a recount, it's a full audit of the voting, which means a by-hand recount in all 159 Georgia counties. Now, the audit is designed to, quote, catch anomalies that would arise from misconfigured machines, procedural errors, or intentional attacks, per NBC News. So at the end of the audit, we should know the real standings of Biden versus Trump. It should be fine-tuned, and everybody should be happy with the results. Number two, in Arizona, where Fox News called the state for Biden, his lead continues to slip. Biden now leads by 12,800 votes, but there are 46,700 votes still remaining to be counted as I speak. Trump needs to win 64% of the remaining ballots to catch Biden, but even if he can't, the totals are going to be so close at the end that a recount can be expected. On the other hand, Arizona Senate President Karen Fann, who is a Republican, has called for an independent analysis of the voting, which was rejected by the Arizona Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, who is a Democrat. Now, I tend to agree with Katie Hobbs, the Democrat, because I'm not sure what an independent analysis could show, except for some statistical anomalies which are not necessarily proof of fraud, but they might point to it. So if anything, Arizona needs to do the same type of audit that Georgia is performing. So we'll see how those totals pan out in the next day or two. Number three, in Pennsylvania, Biden has a lead that is now large enough to avoid a recount. However, if Trump is successful in having the courts throw out ballots that were received after Election Day, he could overcome Biden's lead. But that is a long shot now, considering the size of Biden's lead. Number four, Trump is contesting results in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, but unless he can prove massive vote fraud, it's unlikely he can move the needle in any of those states. Now, this goes back to what I spoke about in my last Midnight Musings, where I said that the vote fraud has to be widespread and significant, and most important, it has to be provable. It's pretty obvious that no election that we have nowadays is perfect. There's always something that goes awry. There's always some, bad ballot, but I just remind you of the hanging chads from the 2000 election and the mess that they created. But the question is whether an election is 99.8% perfect or 80% perfect, because there's a big difference between a 0.2% fraud and a 20% fraud. Number 5, you've probably heard this before already. Numerous people have said the media does not decide the winner of the presidential election. The winner is actually revealed when all the states have certified their election results. With the slow counting and the recounting that is going on, this is obviously going to take some time. Now, states have differing schedules on when they must certify the results, but they all have to have them done and turned in on December 8th, which is 6 days before the electors meet on December 14th. The 6-day interval between the 8th and the 14th is when the states have an opportunity to clear up any lawsuits concerning the election that may have arisen. Now, the electors do their voting on December 14th, after which they deliver their certificates to Mike Pence. Now, he's the current vice president, but he's also the president of the Senate. Now, those results are revealed on January 6th, when the winner of 270 or more electoral votes is announced as the next president of the United States. So we still have a long way to go unless either candidate concedes before January 6th, and that could happen. So in closing, the questions are, is Biden's lead real? Now that will be decided in the recounts, audits, and court cases, or whatever the states ultimately certify. Then another question is Biden's lead insurmountable? Can it be overtaken? Now, unless Trump prevails in the courts and in the recounts, the answer is yes, it is insurmountable, in which case Trump should concede. However, if you, like Trump, were in the race for your political life, what would you do? How long would you wait? And what processes would you go through to try to make sure that the results are not necessarily in your favor, but accurate? So what should Trump do? Okay, that's enough for tonight. Thank you for staying up with me. But for now, I'm tired and I am going to bed. So I'll see you next time. Good night.